Now, Mahesh, you have, I believe, you moved to Bombay to write film scripts. What was that experience like?
Well, correction, I moved to Bombay to do professional theatre because
Okay.
I couldn't do that in Bangalore. And I was working on film scripts when in Bangalore, so I was commuting to Bombay anyway. At that time, my experience with Bollywood was not a very happy one. I realized how disrespectful the whole system is to writers.
Explain.
You see, writers treated as a hack. You see, they may entertain some form of creativity in the beginning, but at every stage in the process, the writer is expected to accommodate things that have nothing to do with the development of the story, even if it is a development in the sense of a dumbing down process that happens in Hollywood, where a great concept is then sort of simplified to make it more accessible and palatable to a wider audience, based on huge assumptions. But that's another point. But with Bollywood, it was more of a role of subservience. So you had stars who had their inputs, and I had to write in scenes because the very first Bollywood script that I wrote had two heroines, and one was married to the hero and the other one wasn't, and there were these scenes that one heroine had and the other one wanted scenes where she could reveal her body a lot more, and that just didn't go with the character, but I had to write those scenes, and I must say that it made me feel it wasn't a very good feeling, sort of like almost as if it didn't matter what the story required. It was more important what the stars required. And the producer had no interest in the story. They're interested in getting their stars signed and getting the whole production. So to cut a long story short, that was then.
But I'm happy to say.
But I'm happy to say that things have changed now, a little bit, but changed. That people have understood the value of a good script. And again, this comes from the stars. The stars still rule, but the stars have a little bit more sense. And they realize that to be successful, they do need a strong script. So when the stars insist on a good script, be assured that the producers and the directors will follow suit. So times are changing, but at the same time, I'm not jumping with joy. I think I'm perfectly happy doing theatre, and I think I'm perfectly happy doing commercial theatre, which means, thinking of it as a profession which pays you and which sustains you.
Is that possible?
It's possible. It is. Again, depends on how much you need to sustain yourself. That's, of course, subjective. But
Tell me, who was this heroine who wanted to show her skin? You gotta say it, Mahesh. Come on. She's probably an aging, retired one by now.
No.
Kaun thi? Let me think. Who's married to a hero? Aishwarya?
No, it was before Aishwarya.
Kajol?
became Aishwarya. No.
Come
We
on.
can't have this process of elimination there. No.
So
No.
then did you write in the scene so she could show more skin?
Well, I didn't. It just happened because the easiest thing to do was put in a song sequence, which was a dream, so that she could, strip naked for all I care. Well, that sort of.
It sounds really
sort-
pathetic and desperate.
Yeah, but then see, that's the thing. You get paid shitloads of money to actually do nothing. So that the actresses can wear nothing, and nowadays the heroes wear nothing, which maybe is a good development. In terms.
Say, maybe it's a good development.
Maybe it's a good development that at least now there's a sense of equality that both men and women are required to strip.
What did you think of a film like Dostana?
I liked Dostana. I thought it was a good situational comedy.
But didn't it kind of put the stereotype again of making fun of homosexuals?
See, I think Bollywood relies on stereotypes. You know, Bollywood, if you ask me, the biggest stereotypes in Bollywood are heterosexuals. Look at the stereotypes you have of straight women. Look at the stereotypes you have of straight men. So it's not at all surprising. Bollywood then decides to throw up stereotypes of homosexuals. It was a fun element, and in that sense, it was a clever script, but it was a Bollywood script. So in that sense, you do expect stereotyping, and that's what it is. That's reality, and it's not cut out to be.
But do you think that Bollywood, as you've been working there, do you think it'll ever come of age and show maybe make a sensitive film like Brokeback Mountain?
I think it's possible. I think it's possible.
And who do you think will do that?
I think a young director, I think a new director would be
Take that risk.
Would take that because I do see a lot of young talent and they're willing to take risks, and that's a good thing. I think that's a very positive thing. I think when you have this whole new generation coming in of very savvy, technically with it, and with brilliant ideas, and I do see that happening. You know, you're looking at people in their mid-20s who have it all, and I think that's where the future of Bollywood is, with these 20-plus young directors.
And the best part is that the old formula films are flopping.
Yeah.
And the new formula is got to be fresh. It's got to be new.
Absolutely. Because the best part is that your audiences are now 20 plus. Earlier, you were catering to the sort of middle-aged sort of male patriarch who then sort of would decide to take the family to see a film or not. So you had all that thing about errant youngsters who did their thing, but at the end of the thing they had to touch the feet of the elders and say, we're sorry, mujhe maaf kar do, and all that. And then of course, this patriarch will, hug them and, all is forgiven as long as they realize, the value system they need to follow.
So the best part is that films like, say, Dev D, Sai Bibi or Gangster, they're really questioning, as you said, the old values.
Absolutely.
They're pushing forth new concepts.
Yeah.
Even in other films, I see that living together is okay. Getting pregnant before you're married is not a big deal.
Yeah.
And sex is certainly all right before you get married.
Right. But I don't think it's all positive. You see, earlier you had a value system of the gaon. You had Manoj Kumar or Dharmendra, Hamara Desh, Hamara Gaon, and they projected the values of the village. Now, whether they were realistic or not, that's a different story, right? But now you have the values of a westernized youngster. So you don't have the village values, but you have Western values. Like you would have a Hrithik Roshan who's light-skinned, light-eyed. You would have, Imran Khan or Kareena Kapoor, all very light-skinned, very Westernized. And they all, of course, cavort in England and America and Sydney. And they eat with chopsticks and... it's not cool to eat with your fingers,
But at least we have Konkona Sen who looks like us. Nandita Das who looks like us.
Yeah, but then these are not your Bollywood...
Big star, yeah.
Yeah, they're not
There
Bollywood
is yet
at all. Konkona Sen is doing what Renuka Shani was doing 10 years ago.
So there's no
playing
dusky looking actress who's a big star, and you think skin is still an issue?
Skin is very much an issue.
Oh, God.
Size is an issue. And being westernized is the new formula.
But what about Vidya Balan? She's...
There's an exception, yes. And I think it's a very welcome exception. because she doesn't fit into this. And she did a very wise thing that, left to Bollywood's machinations, they would have typecast her as a Benji, right? But she resisted that. And she had the confidence to hold back and probably refuse roles where she has to play this Gharelu, Neena Kumari-ish kind of roles. And she stuck her neck out and did films, like Dirty Picture and Kahani and, God knows what else she's doing. And I think she's sort of, she and, Ekta Kapoor, as a producer, because if she's choosing the scripts, then I would definitely commend her. Much better job than the kind of drivel she gave out on television. I think it's a welcome change.